Mithridates VI Eupator, king of Pontus, was born in 134 BC. He was supposed to succeed his father, Mithridates Euergetes, as king right after he died from being poisoned in 120 BC. However, since he was too young, his mother ruled in his place for a few years. His mother and his sister often tried to poison him, but he always managed to foil their plots. In 115 BC, he imprisoned his mother and murdered his brother so that he could rule alone. Also, married his sister. He became concerned with the thought of being poisoned himself based off past experiences, so he decided to concoct an antidote that would make him immune to as many poisons and toxins as possible. He decided to collect as many deadly plant, animal, and mineral substances and use writings from Indian generals and kings who had written extensively about poisons and toxins as reference to create a universal antidote. He began taking small amounts of poison daily to build resistance to them and experimented hundreds of times to create an antidote. He tested it out on criminals that were sentenced to death as a way of making it appear ethical. Eventually, he created a concoction that became known as the Antidotum Mithridateum. It would later be used by many kings and emperors. It is said to have over 50 ingredients and contain things such as charcoal, duck blood, snake venom, and opium, and be formed into a pill bonded by special poisoned honey. Mithridates would take this pill every day, and in turn it boosted his immunity, and he was able to survive many assassination attempts. As the king of Pontus, Mithridates was obsessed with overthrowing the Romans and establishing a vast empire in the East Mediterranean region. This obviously created tension between the kingdoms, and it was not long before war broke out. Mithridates' first step in creating his empire was to annex the regions of Cappadocia and Bithynia, which bordered Roman territory. In 89 BC, the Romans decided to attack the Pontic forces in Cappadocia and Bithynia. Mithridates decided to attack back and sent his forces after them through the province of Asia. In 88 BC, he arranged for and carried out a massacre of 80,000 Romans in Asia, and in doing so, Asia declared independence. The concept of revolting against the Romans spread throughout Greece, and central Greece eventually came under control of Mithridates. From 87 to 86 BC, the Romans drove the Mithridatic forces back and counterattacked under the leadership of General Sulla, who captured the city of Athens and defeated the Mithridatic commander Archelaus. Peace talks between Archelaus and Sulla began in 86 BC, and in 85 BC, Mithridates accepted them and drew his forces back into Pontus. This marked the end of the First Mithridatic War, which lasted from 89 BC to 85 BC.
The Second Mithridatic War lasted from 83 BC to 81 BC. After their failures in the First Mithridatic War, the Roman army was put under the command of General Licinius Murena. They invaded Mithridates' land of Pontus. Due to civil war in Rome during this time, the Roman army didn't have adequate support. They decided to withdraw and reinstate the policies from the peace treaty that ended the First Mithridatic War. This concluded the Second Mithridatic War. The Roman army general was replaced again, this time with Lucullus, one of Sulla's trusted generals. The Roman army was sent to Pontus to relieve the siege of Cyzicus, ancient Roman town in Bithynia. Their new strategy was that the Romans pestered and attacked Pontic armies enough over time so that the Pontic resources were depleted. The Roman army won their real first battle at Cabria in 72 BC. Lucullus now controlled Pontus, Bithynia, and other Roman territories. A defeated Mithridates fled to King Tigranes II of Armenia, or his son-in-law. And in 69 BC, Lucullus invaded Armenia and defeated Tigranes. However, Lucullus was not a popular leader and was soon replaced with Pompey. Under Pompey's ruling, the Romans defeated Mithridates' army in 66 BC during the Battle of the Lycus. Mithridates, however, managed to escape to Crimea, and in 65 BC, Tigranes was captured and the Third Mithridatic War, which lasted from 75 to 65 BC, came to an end. In 63 BC, Mithridates' life came to an end. After reaching Crimea 2 years before, his eldest son had made plans to attack Pompey's forces, but decided not to continue with it. Outraged, Mithridates killed off his son and took control over the Bosporan kingdom. He attempted to raise forces, but attack the Romans, but it didn't work and he had to withdraw.
Eventually, he was completely surrounded by his enemies, and he chose to end his life through suicide. He decided to use poison to kill himself. However, because of his daily antidotes, he had become immune to it. So his first attempt using poison was unsuccessful. He then had one of his soldiers stab him to death with a sword. Thus ended the life of a man who ruled over the great Pontic kingdom and invoked fear in the people of the Roman Empire. Despite the threat that he was to the people, he was admired by many because of his knowledge and immunity to poison and his skill and strategy in war. His life continues to be a lasting legacy, one shrouded in mystery. The life of a man known as